Hello there, and welcome to our Midweek Extra podcast. This is just a little fillip, a little tease of the kind of thing that is on our Sunday morning show, but it's extra. It's like a DVD extra for a DVD you haven't even bought. My name is Dave Gorman, and I'm here with Danielle Ward.
Hello.
And Martin White.
Hello.
And with you, we have Chorus Podcast, a regular part of our show. We encourage everyone who listens only to the podcast to feel just as much a part of the show as the people who are listening live. And so you can correspond with us on any subject you see fit. Now, do you remember we were talking about One Man Went to Mow?
Yes.
And I had talked about how embarrassing it was as a child. My dad had sung a peculiar version of it that I just thought was the version of it. Which went, one man went to a meadow, one man and his dog Spot, bottle of pop, on with the Riley and her cow, went to mow a meadow. And I remember singing it on holiday as a child and everyone else looking at me like I was the nutter.
Oops.
Yeah. Well, somebody else has been in touch, so they had a similar but different version.
Oh.
Yeah. I think we should maybe collect. I'm going to try and collect as many different versions of One Man Went to Mow as I can. Just to see a little sort of archive of something.
Project.
Exactly, yeah. Alex Fiorello says his version was, and his dog Spot, bottle of pop, an old tin can and a frying pan, Olma the Riley and a cow, didn't know how to milk it. Yeah, which is interesting. You can, there's some of it is shared with my father's version, but some of it isn't. I wonder how many different variations there are on that. But thank you, Alex, for sharing that. You made me feel like the world's a little bit bigger and I belong in it. So it's not quite so peculiar anymore in my world. But anyway, Russell Franklin. On the subject of the best laid plans when things go awry. He says, "Hi Dave, Danielle and Martin. 2 weeks before my wedding day, and 10 minutes before leaving my home, my landlord came to me in a panic that he had locked himself out of the back portion of the house. Being keen to help, I offered to climb the back gate, to go through the open back door and open the internal door. Easy." This is a strange landlord-tenant relationship already, if you ask me. Landlords have always been slightly scary figures in my world, rather than people who pop round and ask for a favour.
Maybe the landlord lives in the house with him.
Must be the case, yeah. As this was North London, said landlord was security conscious, enough to add nails to the top of the gate. And in my best efforts to avoid a terrible accident and get spiked, I failed to notice that the other side of the gate was a step lower than the side I had climbed. The landing was not my most graceful, and the result of landing full weight on my right foot shattered my heel bone.
Whoa!
Yeah,
I know someone done
heel bone. That doesn't seem like that's... Oh, that sounds brutal. He says, I made it to the wedding day after a 5-night stay in hospital and my heavily fractured calcaneum. That's a nice piece of knowledge, if it's correct. Calcaneum had to be kept in a footballer-style inflated boot. You know, those things where they pump it up with air to keep the pressure and everything in there. So all's well that ends well. Almost. Under doctor's orders, we cancelled our Med Cruise honeymoon that was planned to perfection.
Oh, no.
This is horrible. So the lesson we learn is never help a landlord. Nothing good will come of it. You could have asked me. I'd have given you that advice.
I think the advice is never help anyone.
Never leave the house.
Yeah. Tell him to climb over his own gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put nails on it.
Yeah, he put the nails there. 10th anniversary. His wife and he will be going on that honeymoon cruise.
That's
Been together for 10 years and they are now finally going to go on that cruise, although they are taking their 2 kids, so he does point out that some honeymoon activity will not be occurring. But anyway.
Send them off to the Tiger Club or something.
Yeah, they've got to have something on a cruise, haven't
some
they?
sort of
You can find a way.
activity.
Although, I've been working with someone whose mum used to work on cruise ships. And she did spend a week on a cruise ship with her mum one time, sort of bedding down in her mum's cabin. And they had a porthole, which means it's quite a good cabin.
Yeah.
You've got a porthole. But it was on the sort of lowest deck with portholes. And with no notice whatsoever, just cruising along, suddenly, knock on the door, security, before anyone has got a chance to cover up any nakedness or whatever and go to the door, security just storm in. And all they're coming in to do is to bolt down the portholes because there's a bit of a storm brewing and security on a ship is very important. And apparently, according to the mother, who has spent a long time working on cruise ships, happens all the time. You get used to people walking in when you're naked. So honeymooning couples could be surprised.
That's why you should get an internal suite.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or an internal door, like that man.
Yeah, and then send us a map of it. But, yeah, isn't that's... Because it's a ship. It's more important that the ship stays afloat, obviously, than you are not disturbed in your nakedness.
Yeah.
But when the storm's up, security go out and they make one knock and in they go. Allen key,
It's good to know, though.
bolt down the windows. Yeah.
I'll bear that in mind next time I'm on a cruise.
Yes.
Well, I'm on a cruise at the moment, of course.
Of course, you're phoning this in. From your
Phoning this in
cruise.
from my cruise.
I hope people listening to this did get Sunday's podcast as well. Oh, that's making no sense whatsoever. Anyway, let's call a halt to Chorus Podcast there. There's always a surfeit of it, and we do try to make our way through as much as possible, which is one of the reasons we're doing the Wednesday extras, so we get a bit more in there. So we thank you, and we encourage you to keep sending it. You know how to get in touch. You go to the website, absoluteradio.co.uk/Dave Gorman. You can send us an email from there.
Absolute Radio.
Now, I'm sorry, everyone. We have to call an extraordinary general meeting for the Pun Street Planning Committee. We've just got too many. There's been the alarm has gone.
I had to be helicoptered here from the cruise.
I know.
E.T.'s very sick. I don't think he's going to make it. And now I'll never know because I was in my private school.
I'll get you the DVD. I'll get you the DVD, Danielle. I will do my best to make it up to you.
Poorly. Anyway.
Something will happen. It'll be all right. We'll sort it out. We'll get you the DVD. You can see the end of the film. I really do hope people listen to Sundays before this one. It's going to be very confusing otherwise. Now, we have a Pun Street Planning Committee meeting. It's called to order. Whether we wanted it to happen or not, it's happening. We have it. There's one that comes from someone who was at my book reading in Manchester. It's a man called Steve Riley, who I think is from Liverpool. And he has seen, I think this is for Fale Lane, a market stall in Liverpool that sells charms and bracelets, which is called The Devil Wears Charms. Fail Lane.
Yeah.
Fail Lane. We just shoot that one
Fantastic.
through, straight through the door. Thank you very much, Steve Riley. It was very nice to meet you. The gavel is down. Is there anything that you would like to bring to the committee's attention?
Well, Dan Fryett's written in, and I'd like to propose this one because you may recall a week or two ago I championed Hope Hospital, which I thought was a funny
We were having none of it.
misjudged name for a hospital.
Yeah.
I don't know, Hope, do you want to... Never mind. Anyway, we won't go into all of that again. Anyway, Dan Fryatt writes in, after you dismissed Hope Hospital, I thought you might like Kilmeny Surgery in Keighley as a badly named medical establishment. And it really exists. There's a surgery and it's called Kilmeny, Kilmeny.
Now, is that a place?
Kilmenysurgery.co.uk. Let's look it up on the old internet.
To me, this is an important part of it. No one has jokily called their surgery the Kilmeny Surgery on purpose as a sort of gag.
It's a homophone. It's not a homograph.
Yes. It's MENY.
Here we go. Kilmeny. Kilmeny Group Medical Practice.
And is it a place?
I don't know. It's just the name of the surgery.
What if you just
it's in Keighley.
put Kilmeny in? Is it in Keighley?
Keighley, sorry.
Kilmeny. I mean,
yeah,
okay. It's.
I mean, that's a really botched name for a.
Yeah.
I don't know. It might be named after some people or a village or something like that.
All the people that they killed.
No, there we go. Kilmeny. There's two branches. One in Kilmeny and one in Longlee.
Okay, so one is in Kilmeny. So
one is in a place
So
called
the one that
Kilmeny.
isn't in Kilmeny.
I think this is. I don't know. This is. Because it's not a deliberate pun, obviously.
No.
So I guess it's
It's
a
a
contender for pun intentionality.
Pun intentionality, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of these. The pun intentionality had a lot of foreign language ones. That was kind of what started the creation of pun intentionality. I'm happy to take it. I'm just saying it doesn't quite sort of get its nose over the line for me. I would see it as I was driving by, and it would make me chuckle. I would go, oh look, there's a doctor's surgery called Kilmeny, but I don't. Because I'd be in a place called Kilmeny, I think, well, I'd expect to see one.
But you don't have to call it Kilmeny Surgery. Like, it's
True.
not like
That's
it's
the
standard
thing.
practice to call your surgery after the town you're in.
This is true. Yeah, yeah.
Anything else? Kilmeny newsagents.
I'm persuaded.
Kilmeny
Yeah.
cars.
Okay.
But I think of all things where you wouldn't use the name of the town you're in,
Yeah.
it would have to be a medical surgery.
Okay, I'm persuaded by your argument. For me, I'm just registering my own little doubts about it, but I'm expecting it to still be carried because I'm feeling a positive vibe in the room.
Because I think we might end up with some more fun ones along these lines.
Yeah.
I think it's maybe starting off a new trend for things. So I for that reason, if nothing else, I'm proposing it. So
Okay.
What do you think?
I'm saying I.
Okay, well, in which case, it matters not
So
what I think.
unintentionally for kill money surgery.
Kill money surgery, it's on. That was a very definite use of the gavel then, wasn't it? Surprised myself.
Very, very strident.
Yes. Is there anything you would like to propose,
I have a
Alderwoman Ward?
submission from Lloydie, and this is for Fale Lane. It's an electrical goods shop in Boston called It Must Be Stolen.
And I think that's Charming Alley.
Really?
Yes, I do.
Fell off the back of a lorry.
Yeah,
or
they're
something,
sort of. They're, what they're saying is we're cheap. They're screaming we're cheap with It Must Be Stolen. You know it's not stolen because they wouldn't actually call it a shop It Must Be Stolen if it was. I think it's playing on a little bit of cheeky humour. I think that's a Charming Alley contender for me.
Yep.
There's nothing Fair Lane about that. I think, hey, cheeky wags. If that was in the East End of London, you'd think, that's going to be the cheapest DVD player I can get. It won't really be stolen. They're just playing up to their stereotype. They're playing a bit trotter for you.
Yep.
You know, so to me, that's Charming Alley.
Oh, well, in that case, I'll concur.
It would also
with
be
that.
a good name for a shop selling German Christmas cakes.
I had to work that out backwards.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that stolen is
Stolen.
Yes.
Stolen.
Stolen. I
Yeah. Are we all thinking Charming Alley?
Charming Alley.
Okay,
Yes.
Charming Alley. It is carried. There is one more I wanted to share with you, which, well, actually, this isn't even a contender for Pun Street. It's just one thing I wanted to share with you. It's a thing I saw while on my travels. I can't honestly remember. It was either in Manchester or Newcastle, which is where I was towards the end of the week. And it was in a hairdresser's window. So it isn't the name of the shop, so it's not really a place for this. But maybe there's a way of collecting these kind of bad strap lines for shops. Because they had a poster in the window which said, "Never make an appointment." Which, presumably what they mean is you can walk right in and sit down. But it just looked like someone telling you, don't go here, never make an appointment.
Yeah, no appointment needed is a
maybe
different, slightly better way of putting it.
Exactly, but it made me chuckle as I walked on by. So I think maybe just if you see a sort of an unfortunate strap line for a shop, something that doesn't quite do its job of selling, maybe then we can create something for that on Pun Street in the precinct also. Just offering it up as a new kind of category. But apart from that, let's step out and let's just go back to having our regular scheduled Sunday meeting if we could.
Yeah.
Is that okay, everyone? Okay, good.
Absolute Radio.
Now, it is time for Listener's Lexicon. This part of the week where we go through your phrase, your fable, your slang that is niche. Slang that you use, maybe your partner uses, maybe your family use, maybe your colleagues use, but you know the rest of the world doesn't understand. We're compiling it, we're putting it together, we're sharing it with the world, and we do this as a parlour game. Producer Chris has divvied them up. He's given us all an example. We each have one. We haven't seen each other's, so we see if we can work out what they are. We teased you with them on Sunday's podcast. I will remind you of them now. I think I went first on Sunday's podcast, so I shall go first again, if that's okay with you. Okay. Mine comes from Jason in London. It is monologuing, which is already a word, obviously. It's not a new word. But what does it mean in slang context if you're Jason in London?
See, when you say monologuing, I instantly think that must be how you describe when you go to the lavatory and you only need to do one. It all comes out at once in one big line.
I like that. Logging. Logging. Yeah, sorry.
Monologuing, yes. So
I get you.
An unbroken defecation.
Yes.
What a charming thought. Danielle.
Yeah, well, lovely. No part of me thought that might be that. No, it isn't. It isn't that. But that's lovely.
Yeah.
Monologuist is it's a word that's used, I found, in the States. I have been described as a monologuist in the New York Times and things like that. It's not a word that's used very often
I know it from
as a descriptor over here.
The film The Incredibles, where it's a something that villains do at the end of a film when they explain the whole plot to the hero just before dispatching them.
Yes.
And it's always the monologuing that gets them
Yes, it's sort of
gets them caught.
it's sort of similar in sort of Agatha Christie sort of that structure. Oh, you've got me, and now I'm going to reveal it all.
Yeah,
sort of
exactly.
falls out of someone at the end.